Oh, yeah.
We'll do it live. Truck it. Did I just tag wax? What the hell is that? Don't know what I just tagged, but we'll untag that. Or maybe the token bot is called @wax that was in our server, which I don't think even exists anymore. Oh, never mind. We still have it. The ticker price for wax. When I tried to do the announcement, it tagged that bot in the everyone. It's not what I was trying to do.
What's up?
What's going on, Andre? Back in Command Central.
Smoke weed every day.
Doing nerd shit on my multiple computer setup.
Yeah, let's go. Just reading over these tokenomic updates one more time.
Can you tell if your mic is quiet now or if my sound's too quiet?
My mic might be quiet. I can turn it up a little bit.
Trey says, hope your holidays and winter months have started off great. Yeah, they've been pretty good so far. Thanksgiving was fun. Doesn't really feel like winter though. It's still pretty darn nice out in Southern California.
Yeah, it is. It was getting pretty cold yesterday.
That like mountain I went on top of yesterday was pretty cold. It was like 38 degrees up there.
Yeah, it was just cold in Hollywood last night too. Like, I don't know, low 50s. That's cold, right?
Stickers should be going out today. I just got back from Palm Springs. This is so we should be doing the raffle and sending that today, probably after this stream. Just got to fill out all the envelopes.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. I feel like the international ones I shipped not too long ago should be either arriving or en route soon.
That's not what he's talking about, though.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about something else. Just because I sent out a different letter along with those, and that letter already arrived at whoever was getting it.
I think that was going to Wapaka, the international one.
There's a couple. One was going to France, and then one was going to.
The France one was probably Wapaka.
Yeah, one was not going to France. One was a different country.
Yeah, those should be done. And I got to hit Priscilla back, but we might be going to Designer Con in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that is too.
Why does like Discord just like mutes everything but the first letter in all the conversations? It's super hard to read what's going on.
I don't know. I've noticed that too. That's annoying.
She said Saturday would be the best day. She said we could do a 1 to 2 hour for a pop-up neon shop. Should be dope. I'm also down to just go and check stuff out, but if we can also sell stickers, that's cool too.
Added bonus. That would be dope.
I can show some pictures from my thing I went on yesterday. The tram was pretty sick. It's the largest rotating tram in, I don't know if it's the world or America, but it's this. You can see this is the tram here.
Oh, it's like a gondola.
Yeah, it's an aerial tram. But if you see this like circular thing on the bottom, that rotates. So the floor is spinning while you're standing there. So you're moving in 360 degrees so you can see the different angles while you're going up.
Oh, interesting.
And I guess it's the largest rotating aerial tram either in America or the world. Can't remember. I said it a bunch of times.
That's a pretty specific like thing to be a rotating aerial tram.
Yeah,
That
I
could be
mean,
the world.
I think it might be the world. I feel like they just said it's the largest. They didn't like say a location, so outer space might have a bigger one, but
So what was up there once you get to the top?
this is what was up there. The next picture that I'm showing.
This is just like a lookout spot, right? Not there wasn't like a restaurant or anything.
There was also a restaurant up there.
Oh, fancy.
So there's a restaurant. The restaurant was closed until 5 though, so we didn't see the restaurant. But there's like they got like hot chocolates. They had like a cafeteria style food and then a bar.
Yeah.
Jackie and Jessica got hot chocolate, but yeah, just like a nice lookout point. Here's a picture I took. Where's another one? Oh, that's a different picture. What is this? This one different? Yeah. This was right as the sun was setting. You got more orange, and then it got a little bit more pink after the sun had set. The sky looked really nice, though. It looked like a fucking pastel painting. Those colors are nuts. The camera honestly didn't really do it justice. Like, it looked way better in person, but...
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, like exposure way down.
And I took one more picture on the way down. This is from inside of the gondola, through the window of the gondola, going down. This was after the sun had set. And that's I think Palm Springs and Palm Desert would be what you're seeing there.
I see. It's a pretty big like city, I gotta say.
There's nothing compared to where we are right now, but
no, yeah.
You're also really high up, so this stuff is pretty far apart.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It looks like it's pretty far away. It looks like a pretty big city.
You go
Although I guess LA, it's as far as the eye can see.
Multiple miles up a mountain, and this is at the very top, so who's chilly up there? It's like 30 something degrees. I had to wear a bunch of
jackets. Did you have winter coats and shit for that?
I did. But that's what I was doing. Part of my holiday. I guess that was post-holiday. That was yesterday.
Nice.
Today, we are going to go over the Wax tokenomics upgrade explained. And sure, Max has some DeFi moves as well, but we chilling.
Yeah, I want to poke in on those. See how we've done. I think they've
y'all had a good start to your winter holidays too, as Dre said.
Right.
I don't know. BMAX in Canada, right? I don't think they do Thanksgiving when we do Thanksgiving, so they're probably just like, yeah, that was just normal week.
Yeah. It's definitely,
someone in our chat was saying they do it. I want to say it was in like October, maybe, that they do their Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Also, maybe BMAC isn't Canadian. I'm just wrong.
Yo, how we doing?
He's in Chicago, so I'm totally wrong. I was thinking inadequate mass.
That's close to Canada.
Closer than we are, but... So never mind. You probably did have Thanksgiving last week. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving.
Closer than we are.
Let's associate BMAC with Atomic Kings, and a lot of Atomic Kings are Canadian.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
How we doing? Doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Excited about the holidays coming up. I got some plane tickets under $100 to Seattle.
Woke up at like 9:30 a.m. today. I'm not used to waking up that early.
Damn. Did everybody like get up and leave, or were they still there?
Yeah, my parents were on the road by 10. It's also part of the reason I couldn't really sleep. They're packing and making a bunch of noise. Jessica also was working, so Jessica had like a meeting at like 6:30 a.m. or some shit. They all wake up super early.
Damn.
Seattle, the capital of grunge. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hear too. Where
Kenny G is from. King of smooth jazz.
Kenny G. Oh,
we don't claim him as hard, but he's from Seattle. He's not really cool to claim, but
Elite at a place where I used to work used to play Kenny G like at the end of the night to like tell people to go home.
I used to be pretty anti Kenny G, but I'm sort of cool with Kenny G now. My hatred of Kenny G is past. his music's just it's like elevator music. I don't know how else to describe it, but he's a really talented musician. It's just I don't particularly like his music, but I don't have to
Like,
hate
there's
things.
definitely songs that like even if you don't recognize the name Kenny G, like you've heard like there's some songs that like you've heard of his. It's just like this like melodies that you would recognize.
His music is just the most approachable music there. Like that's why I didn't like it. It's just like this makes no statements. This is just like the most pleasant. Like it's music that anybody can listen to. Be like, oh yeah, that's music. But like, I feel like no one gets super excited about. I don't know. But he started in the '70s Seattle funk scene. There's like a Weedle's Groove, I think it was called, documentary about the '70s Seattle funk scene, and Kenny G started there, and then like some traveling jazz musician like saw him live and like was like, oh, you should come tour with me, and then he like just copied that guy's style because he realized he's making way more money than the '70s Seattle funk scene, and then now Kenny G is the best-selling jazz artist of all time.
Hundred free transactions a day. How much wax does that require as a stake on average?
All right, my internet seems to finally be back.
Oh shit! Lagging.
Oh, the internet here sucks so bad.
It was fucking like dropped out the other day too, and I guess that was when you were in Palm Springs. And
Somehow got better internet when I was on Wi-Fi on a public router. But yeah, to conclude my point, I think Kenny G's music, I don't actually dislike his music. I feel like that's his whole thing is you can't really hate his music. It's just pleasant sounding, smooth jazz. But because he's the best selling jazz artist of all time, I was like, he's not the best jazz artist of all time or even fucking close to it. So it's like, it's kind of like a disservice to the genre and all of the super talented people, like Miles Davis and John Coltrane or Dave Brubeck or any of the fucking geniuses of the genre. Like they're all kind of outsold by some guy who just makes elevator music. So I think that's why it bothered me, but it's whatever. It sells well because it is so approachable. Like you can play it anywhere. No one's ever going to complain and be like, oh, this music's offensive. Like it's fucking, you can play it in every grocery store and elevator in the world and people will be like, yeah, that sounds nice.
What up, Buzz King? Buzz King says he just saw this article today. Yeah, we're about to go. We're about to go through this article. Let's take a look.
My internet is still just chugging.
Here, I'll share my screen so that it'll maybe be better.
It's hard for me to tell if your internet's any better because we're on the same internet.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine doesn't seem to chug, but I can see you chugging. I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes
I mean, I don't chug on mine, but that's how it always works. Is you look fine on your own, but the other person is.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this article was pretty well written, like in a way that made it pretty easy to understand and follow. It's not like super technical, but I feel like it also leaves out a lot of like the specific details of like,
which is all I was really waiting for because I already went through and like notated the quarterly update they did, and this says basically exactly what they said in the quarterly update.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a recap of what we already know, more so than it is like the juice we're looking for, which is like, the specifics, the details, the actual like math and stuff is not here. It's just kind of like an overview. But yeah, this one says, it's about what is it? The world of wax blockchain tokenomics. The digital economy undergoes its transformation. It's crucial to evolve our tokenomics to ensure the blockchain operates more efficiently and aligns the growth of tokens with the activities of the blockchain. Okay. So that's definitely like a fun little mission statement for them. starting in coming in hot.
Yeah, I'll just start reading through this. It
Yeah.
says how current tokenomics functions. A quick recap. So this is how it currently is. This is not the new system. This is what we're doing right now. I'm also going to cut the music for this. Cut the music. Maybe that'll help for my bandwidth. Before diving into the changes, let's recap how our current system operates. Staking and voting. Users stake their WaxP tokens for CPU/net. By staking WaxP for account resources and voting for guilds or a proxy, stakers receive rewards in the form of WaxP. Engaging in this process weekly maximizes your rewards. So we've gone over this a bunch. That's if you're staking for CPU net, you got to vote once a week to stay at 100% voter strength, and then you get wax back for doing so.
Yeah, that's like what we already know and love and do, and how we get our free transactions.
It says in the existing model, 5% more tokens are introduced every year via a static
Haha. Well, I guess I fucking lagged out. I guess we both lagged out.
I don't know how long I was talking until that cut out. What point did you last hear from me?
I don't know. It got cut out kind of like early on.
So you can't remember the last thing I said?
What was that?
So what was the last thing I said? Did I get to Wax Labs, or are we still on rewarding active participants?
Still on rewarding active participants. Like,
yeah, I was just saying that's pretty much anybody watching the stream who's not a blockchain producer is receiving.
Yeah, that's basically all of us.
You also can't really use the network without staking wax. So like pretty much everybody, as long as you're voting, which a lot of people didn't realize. I've seen people that are like, "Oh shit, I've been staking wax for years and I never voted." And it's like, "Oh damn, you just missed out."
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing about staking wax. It's not passive. Like you do have to like take an action, once a month if is fine still, but once a week is recommended.
And Wax Labs is the other 1%. So
yeah. And then there's a little pie graph. It shows us exactly how it breaks down. So the 5% inflation goes, 2, 2, 1.
Wax Labs, though, if you're a developer on Wax, which was saying when I got cut off, like Wapaka was able to get funding for building Wax on Edge. So if you can build a tool that benefits the Wax ecosystem, the Wax team will fund it. So that 1% goes to help fund stuff like this, like boost Wax DeFi with incentives for Wax/USD liquidity. Let's see if the other ones have been completed. In progress. Set tutorials of how to make a game on Wax for Wax developers. Completed. Boosting Wax. Okay, we already saw that one. Cross metaverse avatars. That one's drafting. It's not in progress. Enigma, one app and
God damn it. The internet keeps dying. Let's see. Oh, here we go.
All right. I just
There
reset
we
my
go. There we
internet.
go.
Hopefully that helps.
Let's go.
My computer has
How's-
been off for fucking 2 weeks though. I don't know why like restarting it would do anything, but
It's been
probably
kind
need
of
to reset our internet, but that's gonna be hard to do in the middle of a stream.
Yeah, it's been pretty shitty.
That's why we used to pay for a separate internet connection for streaming, but we don't got that no more.
Max,
All right, I
echoing.
don't know where the fuck I left off, but Wax Labs.
I heard myself
People
echoing earlier too, but I don't hear it anymore. I think it fixed itself.
People like Wapaka were funded for building stuff for the Wax ecosystem, like Wax on Edge. I don't know how much of that you guys saw. I was going through the proposals, but yeah, you get stuff, but they don't really like for-profit stuff. They don't really fund anything that's like, oh, we're just trying to sell shit to people. Like they want generally stuff that's like free to use tools. Although sometimes like they don't. They
They have in the past.
2 years ago. But it's been a while, and I think Lucas even said they thought that was a mistake, and that's one of the reasons why they don't fund games anymore is because game development can fail. All right. Hopefully this fucking internet can chill out. So that's how the current tokenomics work on Wax. The next part is Wax DeFi on Ethereum. Through Wax DeFi.io, users have the opportunity to participate in Wax DeFi system that allows participants to receive a portion of the Wax blockchain network economic activity fees collected by Marketplace and dApps. And that's the when you're playing the tokenomics fee on every buy or sell on Atomic Hub, Nifty Blocks, any of the marketplaces you use, there's a tokenomics fee. And part of that is burned. The other part is distributed through Wax P on Ethereum.
Yeah, 20% of it is burned, right? Or does it not say here?
Yeah. That doesn't really give us what we need. Anyway, that's all kind of irrelevant at this point because as of next month, they're changing how this works. So, changes to Wax DeFi upcoming key deadlines. As Wax continues to evolve, significant changes to the Wax DeFi ecosystem are on the horizon. Notably, the final Wax DeFi epoch distribution is scheduled for Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. Additionally, the collection of 2% network fees by marketplaces and dApps will cease on Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. So there will be no more network fees on December 20th or December 19th.
And I wonder how the epoch payout will work out on that last day because the collection is usually like a month behind the payout. So like all the fees that were collected this month wouldn't normally pay out until like January's epoch rewards.
Maybe it'll be a double one, but
right.
It also says not that this is super relevant, but if for whatever reason the networks don't change, like the markets are by default setting network fees, so I think the markets are going to have to change to take off the fees. Like it's in the contract. If the network fees are not taken off, and for whatever reason they're still sending the tokenomics fees, those will just be burned.
Oh, okay.
So any tokenomics fees collected after that date will be burned. So I guess that's good to know. It says for participants in All right. Internet reset. Hopefully it is working this time. Of course, the internet has to crap out the second I get back to try to stream for the first time. I don't know where I ended this. I feel like I'm getting like one paragraph at a time each time the internet crashes, but I guess I'll just start back.
There we go.
I'll start back at the changes. I don't know how far I got into this before the internet crashed.
Yeah. Sorry.
But anyway,
fucking up.
As Wax continues to evolve, significant changes to the Wax DeFi ecosystem are on the horizon. Basically, everything with Wax DeFi is going down. Like, you are no longer going to receive rewards for it. The tokenomics, which were paying the rewards, are going away. So they're just saying, like, long story short, if you're in any of the stuff, you should withdraw. They're saying if you're currently participating, you had to make a pool on Uniswap with WaxE and Ethereum, and then you stake it. They're saying unstake it and then unpair those two tokens. You don't need to have them anymore. The LP token is not really going to be supported. So at the very least, unpair them. But I think this is very important. It says, I had to keep checking back to make sure we're not crashing. It's saying the bridge facilitating the transfer of WaxE from the Ethereum network to the WaxP on the Wax blockchain will remain operational. Furthermore, the conversion bridge from WaxP to WaxE at the 1 to 1000 ratio will continue to be available. And this is the most important, I think. It says, however, please note this service is set to be discontinued in 2024. I don't know what the date in 2024 will be, but we're, 1 month away from 2024. And if you cannot trade WaxE into WaxP at a 1 to 1000 ratio, it's going to lose peg. That's the only reason the price is pegged on Ethereum. They're going to, for lack of better terms, pull, I was going to say rug pull, but they're just going to pull all of the liquidity out of that. They told us they're doing that. So they're pulling all of the WaxE Ether liquidity, and we are as well. They're telling us to do that here. So there will be no way to trade out of WaxE once that bridge shuts down. So if you're part of this, you very much should get out of WaxE as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't know
this
when.
Is another one where I would like to see the more specific dates and stuff. Like, it's just kind of like nebulous. Get out.
That's also kind of a huge thing because WaxE is basically going to be worthless and impossible to trade out of the day they shut down that bridge. Yeah, I would assume it's towards the end of 2024. Like, I doubt it's going to be like January 1st. They're like, you're all fucked. Like, that would be ridiculous. But I mean, just to be safe, I'm probably on the 20th when they say after we get that final Epoch reward, I will probably just transferring it all back to WaxP. I don't think I'm even going to mess with, like, the bridge might be weird because there might be a bunch of people on Ethereum who don't know how the bridge work who are dumping it. So like the ratio might not be good. Like, you might get a worse price trying to trade it into Ethereum than you would transferring it back to Wax and then selling the Wax and buying Ethereum. It's worth checking either way, but I doubt anybody's going to be buying it. So the pressure is all going to be going one way, in my opinion, out.
Yeah, it's also unclear if both directions of the bridge are going to be like open or if they're closing. Like, first you can no longer turn WaxP into WaxE, and then like leaving the WaxE into WaxP bridge side open. Who knows? Maybe they do something like that.
Yeah, it could remain open in one side. It's not a bridge. I guess it's still a bridge. It's a one-way bridge.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm not willing to find out. I'm not going to just sit on WaxE. There's no reason to have WaxE. So, not financial advice, but personally, I will be pretty much as soon as possible bridging out. I'll keep my Ethereum on Ether. Like, I still want the Ethereum that's paired with it, but I think there's no reason to hold WaxE after the 20th, and you might as well just unstake and bridge then, unless you think you'll get better gas fees. Like, I guess that'd be the one reason not to immediately bridge, is if the Ether network is congested, it'll cost more to use the bridge then. But
ETH gas has been pretty pricey again lately, so
it might be worth trying to find a time where it's not super active or wait until the middle of the night or something. But
yeah,
I definitely wouldn't try not to forget about it, because at some point in 2024 you might be stuck with the WaxE and then there's no liquidity to get out of it because everybody removed all their liquidity in the liquidity pool. So then you're just can't bridge it back to Wax.
That wouldn't be the first time this happened through like the Wax like team's tokenomics shift, where like initially they had like the Wax on Ethereum that had to be redeemed as WaxP. And people they shut that bridge down too, and some people got stuck holding a worthless token. So let's not let that happen to us.
Yeah, you just got to be paying like, I don't know. You can't just totally ignore this stuff, even though these are like, I consider this a longer term investment. You still can't just like set and forget and
Yeah.
come back 5 years later because you might be locked out of all your crap, which would suck. But I'd say that most things, like there's no real passive investments in crypto. Crypto is so volatile and moves so quickly that like you got to at least monitor your stuff, keep up
Pay
to date with
attention
it.
to
And
it.
you,
Or
when you
delegate
monitor it,
that
it might just
monitoring.
be, oh, I'm doing nothing. Like that might be your move 90% of the time. But then when there is a change like this, then you kind of need to like be like happy that you're monitoring it. No, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. Even like those passive positions, doing nothing is like an active move in the sense that you're actively deciding to do nothing. Like you should still be paying attention. For sure.
Yeah, that'll be December 20th is the big date there. And I personally, again, not financial advice, but there's one more epoch, and we might get Wax G at the end of that epoch if the price of wax is up, which I think it is up since the last one. And that would give you just a better share than pulling out now, as far as like you'll get extra stuff in the piggy bank and a larger portion of that piggy bank. So personally, I'm waiting until. So I know some people are going, "Why don't you just pull it now?" And I'm like, "I'll wait until the last one because you can get a little sprinkles on top, my cherry." But
yeah, a little bit of that sweet waxy G. Get
so I'll
your cut
probably
of that piggy bank.
monitor it on December 20th is when I'm gonna check it out. I also want to see like their plan because they said, like as Max was saying, you generally like the December epoch would be given out in January. So like, are they just gonna give it all on December 20th, or maybe it'll be a second date? Like I'm gonna check back in on December 20th, but until then, I'm just choosing to do nothing, which is my active choice. But we'll also we'll be streaming. Actually, we probably won't be streaming that week, but maybe the next week we'll stream and remind everybody in case you forget. But I'll be, unless Max wants to stream, but I'm gonna be in New York. I don't think I'm gonna bring my streaming stuff on December 20th.
I'll bring my laptop and stuff. I might stream a few times over the holidays.
I can maybe do it from my phone, but I won't have like the setup. Also, my parents have a bunch of shit planned, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, within the week, and again, as I said, like there's no fucking way they're shutting down the bridge in like January 2024. My guess is at the end of 2024, but there is no specific date on that. So if you are really worried that they'll shut it down before, like try to do it sooner than later. But I think they'll give you months to be able to do that because it'd be like this article is coming out 2 days ago. Like there's no way they're giving people like a month and a half.
Yeah.
That'd be wild.
That's true, especially the pace that they've been moving at. I'd say we should have some time.
Still a big change though, and definitely worth. And I don't know, this might not affect most people. I know a lot of people are only on Wax and they're not on the Ether side of Wax. And in which case, the way this affects you is just 2% less fees on every transaction on the market. So you will spend less when you're buying stuff on Atomic Hub or Nifty Blocks or NFT Hive or Chain Champs or any of your favorite Wax marketplaces. And then this is also there's not really a specific date on this. We do have a specific date for when DeFi is ending. So that is locked in. This is just what's happening next, but it's not clear to me when exactly this change is going to happen. But this will be the enhanced Wax blockchain tokenomics. We're excited to unveil the latest updates in Wax blockchain tokenomics, adapting to the evolving blockchain landscape. Operating costs linked to blockchain utilization. Let me see if I can zoom in a little more on this. Let's give us a 170%. Enhance. Computer enhance. We're transitioning from a static inflation model to a more dynamic approach. The new Wax power-up mechanism links operational costs to the transaction rate. This system collects transaction fees, offsetting static inflation and creating a balance between chain costs and transaction volume.
Interesting.
I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I assume it means when there's more transactions, it will cost more to do a transaction if you're paying the fee.
It basically is saying that they're moving away from having a like fixed, because right now the inflation model is fixed at 5% per year, split 2%, 2%, 1% between the three participants, like in the original thing. And this is saying instead of it being like a fixed at 5%, it'll be 5% minus whatever like transaction volume is happening, so that the rate of like inflation would go down as transaction volume goes up.
So it's potentially deflationary, basically, or there's some level of deflation, so it won't be exactly 5%.
Yeah, it's 5% or less is kind of like the takeaway from that for me.
That makes sense. The Wax power-up mechanism for pay per transaction. Once users exhaust resources from their WaxB stake, the Wax power-up mechanism enables a pay per transaction option. Staking for resources is ideal for dApp operators and advanced users familiar with the Wax blockchain resource model, which is pretty much anybody watching the
That's pretty
stream
much
who's
all of
been
us.
around for a while.
All of us who are here right now, I'd say, are power users in this definition.
But it says regular users will gradually move to pay per transaction system, mirroring experiences with other fee-based ecosystems like EVM chains, while ensuring low transaction costs due to the advanced Wax technology. Cloud Wallet Boost will continue to offer regular users a set of number of free daily transactions. I think that's huge because,
yeah,
like I do think one, like people that are brand new to the chain might not have Wax. So if you're just signing up for a Cloud Wallet to play some game, some new game, and then it's immediately like you cost Wax to do your first transaction, then it's like back to the problem of, okay, so now they have to go sign up for a centralized exchange. They have to go give them their ID and their social security number. And like people are like, I'm just trying to play a video game, not fucking give you all my government information.
Yeah, so it also sounds more like the default is changing to being like you're going to pay a fee, and that's what most people are familiar with anyway. But if you're already familiar with the infrastructure on Wax, you can still do the staking and free transactions.
Yeah, the old models can exist. That's the problem that like that's what I don't understand about this language. It says regulars will gradually move.
Yeah, is that because of the like users? Is that because they're new people onboarding and those people are doing it, or
that's what I think they mean?
that?
But it's like I don't know why they're like trying to twist our arm into saying everybody's going to end up paying fees. It's like why if I can still stake resources?
If I can stake and earn a cut of the rewards and get free transactions for it, I will always be staking. I really like that.
All right. So the next thing it says variable inflation model. Transaction fees collected through the Wax power-up mechanism will impact the Wax blockchain's inflation rate. How is that different than the first thing we said? Power mechanism. I think the first thing is saying that it costs more when there's more transactions because it says the power mechanism links operational cost to the transaction rate. So there's more transactions. The power mechanism cost is more.
Interesting.
But I might be misunderstanding that.
So that's similar still to how like the EVMs work as well. Like where like, when the network's busy, transaction fees are higher. But I'm not a huge fan of that.
Might be worth having Lucas on at some point when this is more finalized to get
a
Q&A because I feel like you and I understand this stuff pretty well, and even this is like a little confusing. Also, like even the OIG was like getting confused about stuff. Like the people that literally run the fucking Inspector General office were like, people were asking, they're like, when it takes Wax for the fee, is it taking it from your stake? And that part is like nobody really knows because they originally announced that's how they're going to upgrade it. They're like, oh, like whenever you run out of CPU, it'll take it out of your stake CPU and spend that. But then they're like, no, like that'll be a separate thing that you have to opt into, and you can have a separate stack for like gas that isn't staked, and that's gonna be the new system. But it's unclear which one's actually right, like because like the OIG didn't even know. They're like, oh, like I thought it was taking it from your stake CPU, and someone's like, no, that's what it used to be. And then they transitioned into the new model, which is going to be like your liquid Wax is used instead. But unclear to me. So
I would prefer it to be my liquid Wax because I feel like one, I don't want to like not knowingly have just unlimited Wax to waste on transaction fees. And two, if it isn't your liquid Wax, then it would still require that like new users understand how to stake their Wax.
I think that's why it's going to be the other one. But again, I've seen some discussion happening in like the Wax governance stuff where like even they don't know, and they're the freaking the most technical people on the blockchain, grading people on how the blockchain works. So I don't think the Wax team has fully explained this to everybody yet. Like that's sort of what I get from this. So this is kind of just like a rough outline of how this stuff is going to work, and I'm sure there'll be more.
It's definitely gas fees, BMAC. You're 100% right. They're moving to a gas fee model.
Yeah, that's basically they're trying to move to a gas fee model, but it's unclear to me like how exactly those gas fees will work based on this. And there is like more technical stuff that will pop after this because Lucas posted a GitHub, and the GitHub has numbers and shit in it. And it honestly went over my head a bit, but we can try to dive into it together. Maybe Max will understand it better than I do.
Yeah, let's think maybe.
And it says these updates are designed to closely align the blockchain's operational cost with its activities, aiming towards zero or negative inflation rate. If you're into the nitty gritty, you can access all the tech details here. Oh, and here's the GitHub. Perfect. basically, if it's causing gas fees, the gas fees are burned. So if they can burn more than the 5% inflation rate, then wax will actually be deflationary, which would be fantastic, honestly, for
Yeah, that's
holders.
definitely great.
And
Holders and
that's one of
stakers
the
are
reasons, like, I don't
gonna
know,
buy
they
it.
say like people won't build shit on wax because all people cares about your token market cap, and the market cap when wax is inflationary doesn't really, like, we're kind of just neutral in like the 150 range for like our market cap compared to other tokens, and people want a top 50 token. So if we can make it deflationary and the value goes up because the same amount of money's in it but there's less tokens, then supply and demand stays equal, supply lowers, price goes up, and then that could potentially make us rise the market cap, and then we could maybe attract larger brands and stuff and bigger investors to want to get into it. And I think that's the goal, because they've been struggling with that for a while, and it's pretty inflationary right now.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with like the compensation for BPs being fixed to the dollar amount, not to a wax amount. That as wax is lower and lower, that makes the
Yeah.
inflation rate go up and up.
So here's the updated model, a picture of it. 2% to blockchain producer rewards, 2% for staking rewards, and 1% to the Wax Lab savings. Wait, how is that different than the first one? That's the same thing, right?
Yeah, 221.
It's literally the exact same thing. Same exact chart. But wait. I'm confused. I guess just because it's not because it's variable, they just changed the name of it. That's what changed here. It says the variable inflation model is part of the Wax rewards computation engine. It calculates the level of inflation needed in the Wax token supply. The term variable implies that the inflation rate can change dynamically based on certain conditions. If enough transaction fees are collected to cover the chain operation costs, in this case, the variable inflation rate goes to 0. This means no new tokens are created beyond what is necessary to maintain the network. If there's a shortfall in transaction fees to cover the chain operations, positive inflation is triggered. This means that new tokens are minted to make up for the deficit. The inflation rate is capped at 5%. Oh, so they might mint. I guess this is saying they don't even necessarily burn the tokens that are being collected from the fees. The fees could be paid directly to the blockchain producers and stuff, so that no new tokens need to be minted.
Oh, and then it's like now you're moving from being consistently 5% to being potentially 0 to 5%.
Yeah. So they're going to use the fees first to pay these 5%. And if more than that's going, they'll burn the extra and mint no new tokens. But I was kind of under the impression they'd burn 100% and then mint 5% still, but I guess that makes no sense to be minting it for no reason than burning. If the transaction fees collected exceed the cost of chain operations, negative inflation is triggered. This means that the excess tokens are removed from circulation. Boom. So that's pretty cool. And again, it's like hard, theoretically this makes a lot of sense, but in practice, how many people are actually going to be paying the fees compared to people that are going to stake CPU? And will that add up to the amount needed with the very, very small amount of fees that's going to be? Like, I think it's going to be less than like 0.01 wax. So you're going to need a lot of that to match 5% of the total supply.
Yeah. I think it also helps with the like bot problem, because the way that the CPU staking is likely to increase in cost, you won't be able to like run massive bot farms if you can't like delegate to all your bots. So then maybe some bots would have to use like the fees.
Yeah, it's hard to say though, because I think a lot of the bots have a shit ton of wax staked to be able to run their operations. So I don't like. It's just very hard to say. Like in practice, all I know is that bots will keep botting as long as it's profitable. So if pushing the transactions cost less than the amount they're earning in TLM or farmers tokens or whatever, they'll keep doing it. But I don't know. I'd also kind of love. I guess that'd be cool for deflationary, but it'd also be cool if it just made the bots fuck off and they're like, oh, it's no longer profitable to run bots on Wax. Let's go elsewhere. Either way, I would like it. But the way I won't like it is if they just stake enough CPU to keep congesting the network and then not. Then they're using, they're just clogging the network and not paying the fees. Then it'd just be like, okay, well, that didn't really help anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I also wonder, they're talking about trying to making a Wax wallet free again, which I think would be pretty fantastic. But again, it worries me, are people going to exploit it like, I don't know, you only get like 6 transactions for or 4 transactions for free a day or something. But it's like, is that just going to be like every botter will just mine 4 times in Alien Worlds because it's free and then they're that, so they're trying to use their anchor wallets and shit. So
Right.
I don't know.
We'll have to
BMAC, I'll get to your question. We're almost done with this article, and then I'll get to your question.
Yeah.
Feature
Same.
enhancements on the horizon. Our vision for Wax doesn't stop here. Upcoming features aim to offer simplification of Wax blockchain resources. We're working on abstracting the transaction fee calculation mechanism, making it easier and more user-friendly. I guess that's cool. But we don't even really, nobody really knows how that works right now. And also,
Yeah.
most people aren't paying transaction fees, so I feel like that's not
I
that big of an
think
issue.
from what I heard from like their town hall meeting and stuff, the idea is like instead of having it like 3 different resources like CPU, RAM, and net, it's just a single like stake resource, and it just splits it for you for what you need. It's kind of like what I heard as the soft pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that too. I'm just not sure if that's what this is even talking about.
Yeah, maybe though.
Abstracting the transaction fee calculation mechanism. That makes me think like when you have to pay extra wax to do a transaction, they're going to make that more easy to understand, but also maybe it was the other thing. So it doesn't say anything
Yeah.
about CPU and RAM there.
I guess it's
Here
true.
it does say something about RAM. Enhancements in the account creation and RAM utilization. Our goal is to eliminate the cloud wallet paywall. That was what I was talking about earlier. Free cloud
Yeah.
wallets for everyone, which is how the golden age of Wax when we got into it and why it was so easy to onboard people. You're like, you don't need to pay anything. Just type in your Gmail and then you can fucking start rocking a shovel in Alien Worlds.
Yeah.
And simultaneously reduce the operating costs for block producers, making the Wax ecosystem more accessible and efficient for all users. That's another thing is like too many things are using RAM right now. So I think they're trying to make it so RAM is partially stored off chain because the blockchain producers have to like do everything that's ever been rammed. And that makes it so they have to buy more hardware. And the more their hardware costs, the more you have to pay the blockchain producers to run the network. And it's becoming like that will make the fees more for gas fees. So they're like, all of this is just not good. Like it's just costing too much for shit that doesn't actually be on chain. So I think they've been talking about like trying to make RAM partially off chain. So some of the stuff that's currently being stored on chain would be off chain. So that's interesting. And also I think probably necessary because I don't think it's going to scale super well if like everything's stored on chain
Yeah.
always, like all that stuff in the RAM tables doesn't necessarily need to be stored on chain, especially for gaming
Yeah.
stuff. Like
That's a good
where that's-
like optimization.
but how that's going to work is still unclear.
Yeah.
They're working on both those things, but what that means we won't know until they've released another article. And that's sort of where like we went over that Q4 Wax update, and they talked about pretty much all this stuff. So it's like sort of just what we already knew is happening, but written by the team, so you don't have to listen to a 45-minute phone call or us to figure it out, which I appreciate. Like you shouldn't have to come to us to know what the fuck's happening with Wax or listen to a 45-minute Twitter call.
Yeah, for real.
So it's nice they wrote it all out, but personally, since I already knew this was coming, I had the spoilers. I would like more concrete details on this works, but we'll get to the
And BuzzKing, but I think by off chain it can also mean just like basically consolidated into like a benchmark and then like hashed into like Ethereum mainnet or something like that. So that you don't have to have like, let's say 100 gigs worth of shit. You could take like half of it and be like, okay, all this information into a single like, repository of data, and then take it out of RAM and into some other kind of like on-chain storage thing that just removes it.
I don't know
from,
how
like,
that'll work until they
anywhere.
tell us how it works. I'm not smart enough to know.
You should be able to like benchmark those things still within a blockchain. It doesn't have to be like, oh, now you have to trust some kind of like off-chain ecosystem. But we'll
Yeah, I
have
don't
to
know
see.
how it'll work. So I could be misspeaking when I'm saying it's no longer going to be stored on chain. It could be somehow differently, but I don't fucking know. I know they've just been talking about it. Like the server cost is getting higher and higher. So like that's just not really sustainable unless, again, like if you want Wax to actually be deflationary, like they're going to end up paying all of the fucking, like if the servers cost more to run, it's going to have to eventually be more than 5% to pay for the server costs. And like that's just not going to be good for investors who want the price of Wax to go up if they make it more inflationary. But
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the solution is when they release it, but that's what you have to look forward to.
exactly.
That's
We'll
also
have to
like
see.
this shouldn't really affect any of the like this affects blockchain producers, like, and maybe smart contract writers, but it's not really going to affect you and your daily use.
Yeah. And then I feel like back to BMAC's question
I was going to
about
finish this last paragraph and just the
okay.
article. It says, we're committed to enhancing Wax's tokenomic framework for the community, aligning costs with on-chain activities, lays the foundation for a balanced digital economy. With a user-centric approach and potential deflation on the horizon, we're optimistic about Wax's future prospects for both casual and large-scale participants. Stay connected for further updates. And thank you for being an integral part of the Wax NFT ecosystem. All right, now let's get to BMAC's question.
Oh yeah.
That's not BMAC. BMAC says, so I know this is outside the subject that you're talking about, but what do you guys feel about getting rid of all the subtokens and everything just being in Wax so that it's just NFTs and Wax and none of the extra tokens? Get rid of all the subtokens, get rid of the box.
I don't know. I feel like the subtokens are like similarly to the NFTs. It's just like another asset within the blockchain that I don't know. I think it's up to like every project to if they need their own token. And if you honestly broke it down, like a majority of them, you could say no. You could have just used Wax.
I would also argue you shouldn't have a token for like the way the new UK regulation just came down is like if you're giving people tokens for playing games, you're now like breaking the law. So for the sake of regulation, if you have a game, your token should be off chain. Like there's no reason for those tokens to be on chain other than people to dump them. And the NFTs allow people to buy NFTs with the tokens in game that mint on chain, and they can sell the NFTs if they want. Like NFL Rivals is honestly just doing it correctly. Like you don't earn Myth token. Like Myth token is used to buy stuff on the marketplaces, but you don't earn Myth token ever by playing the game because they're very up to date on how the regulations are working and working with the regulator. So I would say like not even for like a theoretical sense, but just a practical sense, like there's very few reasons you need your own token. And even us, like we have a token, but that's like, I don't know, it's a tokenized version of our blend token. But honestly, we don't even really need that at this point. There's a bigger issue before when we couldn't make as many, like you used to not be able to make as many potential blend ingredients for stuff. So like our token was a solution for a blend problem that has kind of been solved at this point, to be honest. So, and honestly, having a token is kind of a pain in the ass because now we have to constantly find uses and sell stuff for our token, or the token will just die, and we don't want to leave our holders holding a bag of useless shit. So I feel like if I could go back and do it, and if I had a crystal ball that saw the future, I'd probably not have made a token for us. And I don't think most people should have, like, I can't even really think of a single reason why any projects on Wax should have their own token. Like that's on chain. For games, you should have your own token in game, but I don't think it needs to be on chain.
Yeah.
Like pretty much ever. So I don't think most people need their own tokens, and I would be fine if we got rid of like almost all the sub tokens on Wax.
Although I like the idea of having sub tokens, plus there is a nice like trade economy that like is valuable that like grows around all those different fungible tokens. But
I sort of think it attracts the wrong people to all the games and is attracting investors, not gamers, and everything about that is what ruined Wax. So I sort of think we should get rid of all that shit.
Yeah, that's true. It would be nice. It definitely would also like keep a lot more of the value like inside of Wax because a lot of those tokens tend to just like
it's just people leeching money out of Wax that don't actually care about the games or the ecosystem. Like a lot of that shit has not been good for Wax, in my opinion. But you know, that might be why you're on Wax. Maybe you like mining and selling your TLM, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it's really good for like attracting the right people to Wax as far as like if you want gamers and like people can't build games and like Pixigon has Dead Wager.
Yeah.
And that shit is a fun game, but it's like hardly finding an audience because you can't just grind a token out of it. And all we've attracted is people trying to grind and dump tokens. So it's like, I don't know, it makes it harder for good creators to be attracted to the chain. So we've attracted an audience who's only interested in ROI. And I feel like the whole thing is just kind of muddied up. What could have been an awesome gaming chain, an awesome collectible chain has been taken over by ROI junkies. And that's all of the sub tokens. And people only bought into games, including myself for a while, like Our Planet. I wanted to get Aether. Wax Arena, we wanted our AXP. Green Rabbit, you wanted your shell. Like you wanted anything that's taking anything printing tokens you could sell. But I sort of think that is what tanked the entire chain. So like, yes, I was also a part of that and buying into all those projects, but it's taken me multiple years of seeing every single one of those fail, like literally every single one of them, to be like, you know, that's probably not a good model. And it's just a pump and dump after pump and dump. Sort of like DeFi problem where like if you give people tokens for mining, eventually those tokens become useless and then nobody uses your DEX anymore. Like it's the same
Yeah.
thing just with click farmer games, and like that's not a sustainable model, and I don't think people should be making tokens.
Yeah, I see Ferris's point about like tokens making it possible to move across blockchains with your in-game asset, like fungible asset, like TLM or Brawl being available on Binance Smart Chain or Ethereum mainnet, which is like true, but I feel like at the end of the game,
You know what else
it's
you
not
can
like,
move across blockchains with? Wax. You can move
yeah,
Wax to
exactly.
Ethereum, Wax P's on Ether. Like
Or you can
just
just
make the
swap
main
Wax
token cross
for
chain,
ETH.
and then you
Yeah.
don't need to deal with all the sub chain crap. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Also, it's not like you need to like why would you need to move your in-game assets to different blockchains? Like, I guess
The
it really
in-game
does
token
just come
shouldn't
down to
even
like,
be on the blockchain in the first place, in my opinion. Like you should just be able to play the game, and then maybe if you want to move your NFTs to different blockchains, that makes sense. But again, like
yeah,
with regulation shit, it doesn't even make sense to have a game token right now. Like you saw Nova Rally and ZOS, like ZOS just shut down because they can't have tokens associated with their game in the UK. Nova Rally's like, yeah, we're gonna like relaunch on Steam. We're gonna try to find a way to make all your shit work, but like the gas and all those tokens you've been earning, those are probably just gonna be retired because they can't have that associated with their game. There
yeah,
can't be on-chain tokens associated with the game that people earn. But you can have non-fungible tokens. So like you can earn an in-game token and then use that token to buy something that then mints on chain. But you can't just be airdropping tokens indefinitely to people for playing a game. Like that's very much
yeah,
against the regulation right now. So like it doesn't even make sense from like a practical sense. Like it's gonna tank your project, in my opinion.
yeah. I feel like it's more about like capturing like interest from DeFi participants on different chains if you have a cross-chain token, because that it's not like you're finding necessarily more people who are playing games on
My
different
point here is
chains.
player base from 2+ chains make the NFTs transferable, so you can use your rare armor you got on Wax, trade it to Polygon, and the Polygon people can't get that armor on their chain, and have like rare NFTs that are cross chain, and then all the tokens are off chain. So you can mint your NFTs and then still attract people through the
Yeah,
NFT side, but like there's no reason to have the game tokens even on chain in the first place, other than like trying to attract investors and speculators, which is honestly bad for the game. It pumps and dumps, it burns the real players. Anybody holding on to the tokens ends up getting burned. The only way you make money on these games is by dumping when the price is high, which like that's not the people playing the game. That's the people hemorrhaging money out of the game. The actual gamers are rebuying items in the game with the game tokens. So I feel like the whole token thing is just like not good for the game side or the gamers. Like I got burned on every project because I held. Like I wanted to play the games, I believed in them, and not almost every single time I did that, it burned me. Like I hold 15, 16 R Planet
yeah,
lands. I hold fucking Uplift lands. I bought like 30 something Uplift lands. Like all the fucking shit I bought and held fucked me. Like I should have flipped it when it was high and like just gotten the
yeah.
fuck out of there. But it's like if you can only profit by dumping on the people who believe in the project, like that's not good for the project long term. I feel like that's what all
Yeah.
of these token things do.
Uh, you're giving uplift trauma back to Buzz King.
I left their server. They might still be around, but yeah, I left them with a bunch where it's like, why am I hate following all these projects? Like, even if Uplift had a comeback, I'm not interested in being involved. Like, I do not like what they've done. I do not trust their leadership, decision making skills, and I don't know. It's just like, why do I like every announcement get more pissed off and just rant about it on stream? So, for my own mental health, I left most of those servers a long time ago. I'm like, I'm no longer hate following crypto projects. Like, I'll just count it as the L. Mark it as 0. I crossed the line, Donnie.
Yeah.
This is a good one too. So they're cracking down on people printing their own money. Does this go for government too? Nope.
Nope, of course not.
U.S. government's still going to print a shit ton of money and devalue
That's
your
okay.
shit.
They can
But
just print unlimited money. That's their move. I also think ultimately like a lot of tokens, not just in Wax, but in general, don't need to exist. Like a lot of projects don't need their own token. You can build like protocols that don't have, tokenized ownership or something.
it's honestly to sell more NFTs because that's what everybody's buying on Wax. Like, oh, if you can earn this extra token and dump it, we'll spend more on the NFTs so they can sell more packs. Like that's how all of the play-to-earn projects, all the projects attracted people to buy their shit and fund their projects that they never were able to fully launch or develop. But like, it's all just a marketing tactic. Like none of that was good for the ecosystem. None of that, I don't know. It's taken us years to like power through that. And I honestly don't even think that's a bad idea for regulation. Like how many of those games have been successful and not burned like thousands of people that like like even Axie Infinity, even the ones that are like bigger and higher profile, like tons of
Yeah.
people got fucked on those because of all the speculation. The speculation is because they have fucking tokens that they don't need. So like, I don't know.
Yep.
Sell skins, sell game items. We don't need people to be able to grind endless tokens to dump. That's not like it's not healthy for game economies. It doesn't make sense. If you could sell your fucking
Yeah.
money in fucking what Grand Theft Auto, like the money would be worthless. Like everything would be worthless. Like people that would like did the exploits that like dropped max hundreds of thousands of dollars would have ruined the entire game economy back in the day. Like because they would have
Billions.
sold all the money and then people would have every cosmetic you could possibly have. Then nobody need the cosmetics anymore. Then Rockstar wouldn't be able to sell stuff to people anymore because everybody had too much in-game money, and the whole thing would fucking collapse because they wouldn't have money to develop their own game. Like that shit wouldn't
Yeah.
have been good. Like you shouldn't necessarily be able to sell your in-game money that you earn.
Yeah. The fact that like yeah, if you're trying to tokenize your entire game economy into those fungible assets, I think the economy needs to be very sound because at that point it's out of your hands. And if you've like not, if you introduce some exploit or something, you can
Even
break the
then,
entire
it
game
doesn't even need to
forever.
be super sound. You can have the most sound economy in the world, and if somebody is able to exploit it, it's over.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
It's over forever
You know
for
what you
everyone.
can't do if you like fucking hack into like mythical games and give yourself a shit ton of diamonds. You can't buy NFTs with those diamonds. So like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like separating that shit gives you a lot more security. And then also having a centralized account not on chain, like they can freeze your fucking mythical account. Like if you do hack into it and somehow buy 7,000 packs, they can just be like, you can't use our marketplace and there's no other place to sell that shit. So like, I don't even think centralization is bad in games, but
yeah, exactly. In the context of gaming assets, it definitely makes sense to have that layer of like, the developer can protect you against the game being broken by people exploiting stuff.
And I feel like the second you have on-chain tokens and shit, that's just like leading to it being easier to exploit, easier to get out of your leech all of the money out of the ecosystem that should not be leached out of the ecosystem. Like,
yeah,
just
exactly.
another room for error. But yeah, especially with this new UK regulation, which literally shut down multiple long-running wax projects, like in their current iterations. I don't think having tokens is really a good idea for most people. We also kind of got lucky. We didn't make our own token. So even though there is a neon token, we didn't create it. We don't hold the smart contract. So like that's not ours. That's not ours. We can't even shut it down. If you want to shut down the neon token, you got to go talk to the fucking guy who made it. Like that's not us. So as far as regulation goes, I feel like we're kind of safe there, but even then, I don't think most people need a token.
Yeah, exactly. And then the big thing about like tokens is like, people use them as like Kickstarter, kind of like sell them now and we'll build value for it later. And that's just, hasn't worked out.
I feel like we're long past that being like a, like when I hear about someone like, oh, like this will earn a token, I'm like, I'm already out. Like, the reason I'm buying into something is to earn another token. Like that's a Ponzi scheme, and that's never gonna.
I also hate that as an idea of like, oh yeah, like in this game you can grind out these tokens, or you can just earn them passively. It's like, nope, then I don't want to grind them out. If I can earn them passively, why the fuck would I grind them?
I'm also, I don't know. It's taken years to like get there too, because I definitely was. We already talked about it. We were in the R Planet hype. We were in the Alien World hype before it's added Binance, and like we did really well on those. So it's really easy to be like, oh, like this is just how you print money, and this is the future. We're all going to be rich with our digital Lambos playing fucking R Planet. But I don't think that's realistic, and I think it was part of like the whole fucking kind of like the peak end of the bull market. Just anything was like attracting way more money than it should have. And it was really you were buying into a Ponzi scheme early. It was what was happening. Like you're benefiting from Ponzi schemes when you got into that stuff and sold. And then that's why people are like, oh, Ponzi schemes. Like some people profit off Ponzi schemes. If Ponzi schemes are profitable for nobody, they wouldn't happen. But the people who get in early actually do well. And some people saw that success and were just like, oh, we're going to keep repeating it. But I don't think it's healthy to build your entire chain on Ponzi schemes necessarily. So like, yeah, Rakedin has a question. Shout out to Rakedin, one of our current elected wax inspector generals. He won the last election.
Oh, nice.
Do you think the upgrade will lead to more or less wax staked?
I think ultimately lead to more wax staked because it gives the DApp creators the ability to basically onboard people to their DApp and make their DApp free for their users by staking their wax to their contracts, which that's really something that isn't like an incentive right now.
Although there weren't that many people participating in the Wax DeFi, there was a lot of money locked into that Ethereum Wax E pool. And
Yeah.
people like myself, that was my long-term investment in Wax. I moved my staked Wax P into that, like my 100,000 Wax P stake I had. I was like, okay, well, this seems to be a better opportunity. So I want to be invested in Wax long term. So I'm going to bridge that all back over, Waxy and Wax P, and I'm just going to stake it. So I think there's going to be a bunch of people immediately that still want to be invested in Wax long term that are going to just bridge a ton over from Ethereum. So I think initially we'll see a pretty big boost from that. And then I also think, like, if there are people that are playing games that currently are using the shared pool and they're not like, they're like, oh, I don't need more Wax now, but then they're going to 1,000% CPU or whatever, and they need a 10x stake from where they're at, then they might, because they understand how the resource model works, stake more Wax to be able to continue playing the games they're playing.
Yeah,
So I think
exactly.
it'll lead to more Wax staked, but it's really hard to say. Maybe people will prefer burning their Wax, but as someone who's like, I can stake Wax, get free transactions, and get a return on that, like, why would I ever use the gas fee model?
Yeah.
But that's also what attracted me to Wax in the first place. And it's hard to say if everybody's under the main mindset or the same mindset.
Dude, if I was able to stake my ETH and get free Ethereum transactions, I would never fucking pay for an ETH gas.
This is probably going to give Max some wet dreams tonight. It says there will be new DeFi programs in the new year, and they'll possibly be built around stablecoins more.
God, thank God. Stablecoin
Max has
liquidity
been-
yield on Wax is actually pretty fucking substantial. Like, I own most of the stablecoin pools on Alcor, and if you target your liquidity like within like 5 or so percent of like the spot price of each stablecoin, it's like 20 to 40% APR. Depending on like
Max has been a warrior for stablecoins on Wax. Like, when nobody was doing it, Max was like the only one providing USDC pools.
Yeah, that's true.
Box, and he
I
also
think
was
I still own most of like the Wax DAI that just is not in the bridge.
And Max was bridging over all those tokens from Ethereum to Wax. He's like been a firm believer that we should have it for a long time. What I would love to see, which I know you have no say in, Raked In, would be WQ Big Boss William Quigley, man. I want to see him fucking do some native stablecoins on Wax.
Yeah,
like,
some native steel tons.
He fucking all the time talks about he's the co-founder of Tether, and then it's just like, okay, EOS is like not even the most active Antelope chain. So like, why does EOS have native Tether and why does not Wax? Like, if you're the co-founder, go talk to your other co-founder buddies and fucking mint some Wax natively or some USDT natively on Wax. That would make me feel like 100 times safer than like, I don't think Alcor is going to screw anybody, but I don't like relying on the Alcor team's bridge for the safety of my tokens because I've been screwed by bridges in the past. Same with like even the Wax team. I trust the Wax team, but I don't know. All it takes is one exploit and they can drain the honeypot of Ethereum or USDT Ethereum or USDT.
Not to mention the 1% fee on the Wax bridge. It's not like that's pretty substantial if you're moving lots of stable coins around.
I get it. I know it's not easy to, but if William Quigley could do it for EOS, I feel like he could do it for Wax. I also know that's a big ask that's probably not going to happen, but that's what I would love to see personally.
I guess what we could see is maybe like decentralized stable coins that are like natively backed by like liquidity pools or something.
But that also is relying on.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the liquidity pool you're backing it with. It would have to basically mostly just be Wax pools or Wax native assets.
Either way, I think it's good news. Sorry,
definitely
bring down the good news of new Wax DeFi with. Yeah,
no, that's exciting. Native. I'm excited for some more DeFi stuff. DeFi on Wax is just so like straightforward with how easy it is to like, you know, pay for transactions and you know.
Alcor's also just been killing it. Like Alcor is like basically as operational as Uniswap at this point, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, Alcor's definitely got like the concentrated liquidity stuff works really well. The farms are dope. The fact that they have like incentives coming from a bunch of different like project creators now. That's like a super sustainable way to continue to have like liquidity incentives. I don't know. I love it. Their spot market is great. That's like something Uniswap doesn't even have that. The swap market or the spot market on Alcor where you can just set limit orders. That's super dope.
It's also pretty impressive for a one-man operation that like, I mean, I can't like with the trade volume that was going through that long ago, he can't be making that much money to be honest. Like he's put in a hell of a lot of work for like the amount of money compared to how much Uniswap makes on like a 24-hour volume fees collected or whatever. And also didn't really take fees for most stuff. Is like only the TLM pool is collecting fees, right?
I think it rotates but yeah, it's not every pool. It says in their
But the
documentation they
fees are
only
going to
take
the liquidity pool holders more than the site. So like, I don't even know how Alcor is making money. If I'm going to be honest,
yeah.
what fees does he get?
It says on their docs that they take fees from
It's from like the TLM pool and a couple others, but like it's not a lot. So like that guy's killing it for not asking for a lot. Also, it's just been like since I've been on Wax, some have come and go, and I think Taco's doing good things. DeFi Box was cool for like 6 months, but like
yeah.
Alcor's been around, and like I at least trust them as far as they've had opportunities if they were going to like screw the community that they haven't. I want to answer Baggy's question that I've had highlighted though. I said, what was the story behind
Uh,
your huge Wax stack, Lou? Have you pulled some Alien Worlds printing machine? Max and I bought into Alien Worlds before it was listed on Binance. We bought TLM because we're trying to farm crypto monkeys, which is the dumbest way to ever make a bunch of money. We're trying to get crypto monkeys, and I was like, if you mine a certain amount, you get airdrop them. But then we were like, oh, if you have a certain amount staked in Neri, which is the planet that they were about, where they had all their lands, like if you're a top 100 staker on Neri, we'll also airdrop you like even rarer ones. And we're like, well, it's way easier to just stake it. And it wasn't that much money to buy like, I think it was like 20 to $50 to be a top 100 staker. So we're like, yeah, that's like, let's just do that. That's easier. Which I
yeah.
also bought tools and was mining and was like a top miner for a while. But when it got added to Binance at what, like 10x, it went up maybe even more
It
than that.
100x, dude. I think I bought about $500 worth of it, and it was worth like $50,000 or something. It was ridiculous.
I didn't buy as much as Max, but I bought enough that like I sold like most of it. I think I sold half of it like the first night when it was added, and then I held on to some and I was like, oh, should I? And I kind of like kept selling it as time went on. But I used
Yeah.
that to buy into Our Planet and Uplift, which did not age well. But then
Yeah.
in Our Planet, I pulled a mythic land, and I sold that mythic land for like 120,000 wax. So smartest thing I ever did was take half of that immediately and stake it into Wax P, and then eventually I bridged a big portion of that over to. And the rest I
Yeah.
spent on rug pulls and people that never developed their games. And
That was a
like,
huge
I would have just
land
cashed out of
pull,
Wax
too.
then. That would have been like life-changing money for me. But I learned my lesson the hard way and reinvested it all into projects that ended up not panning out. So I was very,
Right.
very green. Also, like at the time, like Uplift also was going, like if I had sold Uplift when I bought into it, I was making wax, like the wax was up on everything I was buying. So like
Yeah.
in my mind, I was like, everything I throw my money on wax is fucking doubling, tripling, quadrupling, like everything, every drop I was buying. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing this. And the problem was I didn't sell. I held everything until it became almost worthless. So
Yeah, that's the move.
that's why we were earlier talking about why every project doesn't need a token, because it's like, yeah, I firsthand lived through that, all that hype. It like did not end well for the people who actually want to play the games and hold on to this stuff and believe
Yeah.
in the projects.
There was a time when the A ether I was mining just for my NFTs was worth close to $1,000 a day. Like it was insane amounts of money. That was a different time. It also seemed in retrospect, it's also obvious that the move is to sell, and I sold a lot of it into ETH, which a lot of that I was using on Harmony. And
I sold a lot into fucking other projects on Wax.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
moved
let's
a lot of it.
diversify
I made
into
really
Green
good
Rabbit,
money, and I just got robbed.
Uplift, Wax Arena. Let's list all the graveyard of projects that I spent my Ether on that I should have just been cashing out into dollars to pay my rent. But
Uplift was a pretty devastating one. And the Yoshi drops, I think, was another big
Yoshi
one.
drops I spent thousands of dollars on, and that went very poorly. Yeah, I don't know. We don't need to get into all that. Let's go to this GitHub has like a more detailed explanation of what we just read.
Oh, nice.
So this is how it currently works. I feel like we don't need to go through the current tokenomics because they're literally changing it. So
what are Yoshi drops? You don't want to know, BuzzKing. You don't want to know about Yoshi drops.
Yoshi Drops was an Uplift side project that was supposed to be like a Wax music label that just never ended up doing anything they said they'd do.
Yeah, it was a big nothing.
So this is the power up. Is there a way I can get rid of this? Yeah, there we go.
There it is. Okay, maybe I can hide myself.
Changing the size just did nothing. All right. So the power ups tokenomic, there's a transaction. You can either do power up or staking. If you do power up, the fees go to the EOS IO fees. And the EOS IO fees go to distribute 5% token supply, mint max 0% potentially, but up to 5%. And then this is just like a math equation. Burn the fees if it's greater than 0, like once you've, or less than 0? No, greater than 0. We already talked about this, but it's if they're able to pay the 5% and there's anything greater in fees, they burn it.
Right.
And then
Just
some
a
of
flow
it's given
chart version of
to
that.
Wax Labs, some of it's given to the voters, and then 1% is given to the producers. But there are some examples. Shit, how do I get this back? I do not know how they use. Just go back a couple times. Okay, summary of changes. Adoption of a hybrid transaction model, execution model combining classic resource taking and power up, whereby power up resources will have access to the system in a ratio of 1 to 10 power up to staking. Does that mean staking is more powerful or less? I have a hard time reading these like numbers.
I'm not.
Power up resources will have access to the system at a ratio of 1 to 10. So one power up's worth 10 staking. That's how I'm reading that.
Oh, I see.
This ratio may be adjusted as chain activity is monitored during and after the rollout. Variable inflation mechanics allowing for the possibility of wax deflation. Inflation will be capped at 5% and offset in real-time fee by fees collected from the power up to potentially allow for deflationary situations when the chain is heavily utilized. And I really hope bots pay all those fees and we get some deflationary wax. That'd be like the silver lining of bots have kind of been just wrecking the Wax network for years. If they start making it deflation, it'll be like, okay, no more shit talking. Thanks for thanks for burning the Wax for us and paying all the
Right.
fees so we don't have to mint more. Then it'll be like, these bots are actually helping us in our ecosystem, which I feel like currently they are not. Okay, power up fee behavior. Dynamics to realize. Users will have the option to choose staking or power up as their mechanism to execute transactions. Power up parameters will initially roll out with values very similar to EOS mainnet, but scaled to the Wax token supply. The power up resource will be 1/10 the weight of the staking resource pool. Despite that, the power up fees will be very cost effective and should be an attractive option. So now I'm reading this as the opposite. It'll be one. It won't be 10 to 1. It'll be 1/10 of the staking resource.
Okay.
Still not sure what that means, to be honest. I mean, I understand what it means theoretically, but what does that mean in practice as far as like how much will it cost to do a transaction? That's all that I really care about. Like what's happening behind the scenes isn't as important to me as what is like the practicality. If I'm trying to push a transaction, what does that cost? The resulting balance of stake weight versus power up weight will allow a typical staker to execute about 10 transactions per hour with typical weights. The elastic multiplier will be effectively disabled so as to tighten the chain resource usage to its true burden during slow times. Its power up is expected to be extremely cheap during slow times. This will provide a good alternative for the ecosystem and should contribute towards aligning usage costs with chain activity. And I think that just means it's going to cost more for the power up the more transactions being pushed, which is much like Ethereum gas fees. When more people are pushing transactions, you got to pay more gas. That's how I understand that, but I'm also dumb, so
I think that's right.
let's see if we can get a picture of this. Is there a way to get this bigger? Oh, here we go. So this is a tokenomics explainer. It is very hard to read this.
Yeah, it's like dark
Saying-
gray on black.
It's maybe because I have on night mode on. Can we change it to
Maybe.
I never like day mode, but
Yeah, I mean, if they're not going to change the color of the fucking text.
all right, let's try to read it anyway. I don't know how these GitHub. I'm not a developer. This is just showing us the power up fee based on the power utilization. If you're at 0 utilization, it looks like it's 0 or right above 0. If we're at 98.8% utilization, it goes up to 250. That can't be 250 wax for a single transaction, though. That doesn't seem right.
No.
That's to reserve a specific amount, I assume, which is more than like enough to do a transaction. Reserving 3,141 CPU per iteration. The cost to reserve 3,000 stake via stake. Sorry, I'm trying to read this. $2,000
hi-
wax is
if you highlight it?
$2,500. It'll cost 1 wax to send a token, I think is what that's saying.
Oh, okay.
If wax is being used at 30% power utilization, it would, and wax is $5. Okay, I can't tell if this is saying the price that it's going to cost or the price of wax.
I think it's the price of wax.
So if wax is $5,
Okay.
it's 0.004 wax. And it says if wax is $12, it costs 0.009. And the CPU's at 70% power utilization. I don't think I'm understanding how to read this chart. I'm going to just go ahead and chop this up to
Yeah.
someone smarter. We need like any observation or someone that really understands this to. I'm not even trying to explain this because I'm going to explain it incorrectly. So I'm just going to skip through this.
I'm a little confused. Why is it more like units of wax if the cost per dollar of wax is higher as well? So the higher dollar
I think
cost
all
of
you
wax,
need to know about this thing is the more utilization the entire network has, the more it costs to push a transaction. That's what you could essentially get from this chart. The specific numbers are confusing to me, but the one thing that is clear is it costs more wax if more of the network's being utilized, which makes sense. Let's see if we can figure out these other charts.
I agree. I agree with BMAC too. Let's get wax to 10 cents before we talk about $5.
All right. The following graph shows how the resulting changes will affect staking for a typical user. Staking only 500 wax for CPU. This kind of user can send at least 11 typical transactions per hour indefinitely when the chain is under current average loads at about 25% maximum chain load. So that I think is like hard numbers. You're staking 500 wax, you get 11 transactions per hour. And in my opinion, unless you're doing games with like Alien Worlds where you're mining every 5 minutes, you shouldn't, even that, if you're mining every 5 minutes, that's what is that, like
that's
12 transactions per hour.
Yeah, 12 per hour. So you're still good.
So even that's like pretty good. Like, so unless you're doing crazy shit on chain, like that should be good for most people. The issue is if the utilization becomes above 25%, then you get specifically less.
Oh, I see.
That's at 25% load. So if it gets higher, and this is also showing you a available CPU for how much staked. I'm not even sure what this is about. Oh, this is time hours. Yeah, that's honestly good enough for, I'd say, 90% of the users on Wax, 95%. If you have 500 Wax staked, you should be good. Especially if you're just like, if you're playing off-chain games or you're just selling the NFTs, like, yeah, like, I guess if you're trying to chain sell like 1,000 NFTs, but that's also why, like, not everything should be an NFT in your game because you shouldn't need to be like selling hundreds of NFTs for grinding a game. Like, you should use the in-game currency to mint something on chain for one thing that's a little more valuable. That comes down to game design.
Like you definitely need more stake. Like right now, 500 wax gets you way more transactions than that. So this definitely would make, bots require much higher stakes.
Yeah, and that's also why I'm saying like, good, fuck the bots. Like, make them have to pay more if they want to use the system. That's fine by me. The average user, I think, is not going to be. Which I checked last I checked. I think 50 wax is worth, or 500 wax is worth about $30. So that's not cheap. But if you want to be like a power user and be doing 11 transactions an hour, which is kind of a lot, I feel like that's not that bad for like lifetime usage. And also you earn the staking percentage back if you're voting weekly. So
yeah, you're right. 500 wax is about $30 right now.
In this diagram, we see the user is able to accomplish 11 transactions per hour without hitting staking limits. Look at that. I don't even know how to read this graph, but I'll just agree with what they say. Yes, that's what this graph says. I can read the graph. All right. And the last thing says, in this diagram, we see the user eventually hits staking resources at 12 transactions per hour. Beyond this threshold, the user will either have to increase the stake or utilize power up.
Oh, so you can even mix and match. So you could stake to your wallet, and if your stake runs out, then you can just use, hopefully, your liquid balance. But I guess it's still not clear if it's liquid or stake balance that gets paid.
And I did ask any observation about this because I was dumb. I was like, does that mean we're getting one? Like, when is there? They said 10 to 1 a bunch of times, and like in reverse order. When I read it, I was like, I don't even understand what this is asking. So I'll post my conversation with him where someone who actually understands the technical side of this stuff. My first question was like, hey, I'm not the most technically inclined, so a lot of this goes over my head, but does this mean we'll get 1/10 of the current transactions for staking CPU in the new rollout? He said, no, that's not what this means. Staking should remain the same except for the extra resources one can sometimes tap into and use. And that's like if you ever see your wallet sometimes at a like 1,000%, you're like, how did I get to 1,000% above 100? That's because
Yeah.
there are shared resources that anybody on Wax can use. And those are like anybody can be allocated them. And I think the bots kind of wreck those. So the bots end up using a lot of those. But basically that will go away. So I said, okay, so the current system, we are tapping into a shared pool, sometimes for bonus transactions, and that is going away. And he said, yes. So really, CPU doesn't change at all from the current system. The only thing that changes is you can't go over 100%. If you try to go over 100%, there's no longer a community jar you can pull from to give you some extra, little extra juice when you run out of CPU. You'll have to boost and pay the gas fee. So it'll probably be less. Like you're probably used to being able to push more transactions because you've always been able to tap into that extra resource. But theoretically, like technically speaking, the CPU is the same. It's just you can't get over 100% anymore. Which honestly is probably good for the chain. Like it'll affect bots. It's the liquid balance. Okay, so Raken's got an answer there.
Confirmed.
That's great. Because we saw before, like the last update, they're saying something about like it would pull from your staked CPU balance, which we weren't really a fan of because we're like, we don't want to accidentally spend a bunch of the stake stuff. I'd rather just have it
Plus,
cut
the
me
new
off.
users would still have to stake before they could, pay for the fees. So that makes a lot of sense. It's like your liquid balance, just like any other EVM chain, where if you are making a transaction, you have to have
All right. Internet is back. Thanks for bearing with our technical difficulties here. Spectrum has been shit in the bed. Last week when Max was trying to stream on, I think it was the day after Thanksgiving, his internet died like entirely. I was in Palm Springs, so my internet was working, but I don't know what's going on with our internet. But yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I don't remember what I was talking about either. Gas fees, I think. We're talking about gas fees of some sort. I feel like we sort of covered everything we needed to cover here. We're basically just waiting on more information from the Wax team for more specific details. That and y'all learn. I don't know how to read those charts. Those charts are just like, I don't know what's going on. I guess while I have y'all here, we will be shipping stickers after the stream. I'm probably going to eat. Is it myshopify.com? Myshopify.com. I'll eat directly after the stream, but if you order your stickers now, you can still be entered to potentially win the shiny raffle. We got Mark the Narc stickers. It's an NFT from our collection that's now been turned into a sticker. $3. We ship internationally, so we'll ship anywhere in the world for $3. And if you buy one, you get entered in a raffle, which we're doing maybe in an hour. So you have like an hour to buy it. And you can potentially get 2 stickers. So for every one you buy, it's like a raffle ticket. And then 10 to 15 lucky people win a shiny one as an additional sticker. So you'll get the normal sticker and then also a like holographic looking one. But if you want a sticker, we appreciate it. And I'll be mailing those out tonight.
King internet, man.
The other thing I want to plug is we have VIRL stickers available. That is here. If you have Neon Blend tokens, which is the token we're talking about earlier that's connected to the Neon token that Tokenize NFT made for us, you send the Neon token that you can buy on Alcor to Tokenize NFT, the wallet. It automatically returns 1-to-1 Neon Blend token NFTs. And for 2 of those, you can blend them into a sticker, and we pay for the shipping for those. So you'll end up receiving a Shopify code. I'll show you how that works. You have to sign in through a social. I don't have my account on here. I don't really want to do my password either. Anyway, I will not show you on this browser because I haven't signed into my email. Yeah, you sign in with your email because it will email you the Shopify code. And if you sign in with like Twitter, whatever email you sign up for Twitter, it'll email you the Shopify code. But you select 2 Neon Blend tokens, then you select the sticker, and then it emails you a code with a link to a checkout and a free sticker discount. So if you have any Neon Space NFTs, pretty much, you can blend them down into a Neon Blend token, and then you can turn those into a real physical sticker. And if you do it by tonight, we'll be shipping them out. So if you follow that link and blend and do your order in the next hour, we will mail them to you, and they should be there in a couple days. So thanks for the support. And there's only 20 available for blend tokens. So first come, first serve. Whoever gets them, gets them. And you only do 1 per account. So don't try to do multiple. I guess technically 1 per wallet. You could try it on multiple wallets, but we also see the addresses you're mailing to. So if you mail a bunch to the same address, we're like, hey man, like, can you not try to get 5 free ones from the same address?
We'll come to your house and beat you up.
We'll fly over to Europe if you live in Europe, and we'll find you and we'll take those stickers back.
Like, you multi-cannon motherfucker.
I don't know. There are like, if like you do legitimately live with your sibling and then you both like your collection, like, we'll make exceptions. So also, we haven't really had an issue with that. All right, we're back. I'm gonna try to do a grubfish and get the fuck out of here before our internet breaks again.
Here
Thanks,
we go.
thanks for putting up with our shitty internet, but let's get a grubfish
Yeah.
going. Let's get a giveaway for your patience, and let's bounce! Exclamation point neon in your wallet if you'd like to join our giveaway.
Yeah.
I don't know how much got chopped off, but I was just saying we got VRL stickers available at the link I posted. So if you have any Neon Space NFTs, you can potentially, they're not free stickers, but they're real life redeemables that you can get with something you already bought.
Yeah, you can use your NFTs to get them.
And thanks for hanging out and watching, everybody. Sorry our internet sucks. Hopefully it'll be better tomorrow and we can
Yeah,
go through our Wax DeFi moves tomorrow.
It's been really bad today. That's like exceptionally bad.
I'd say worst case scenario, I have all of your wallets that you entered. So even if our internet crashes, I'll send the winner of the Crittercraft to giveaway. I can still make that happen even if the internet crashes, but
on the plus side, our DeFi position is still pretty much everything's in range, so we can just wait. It's not a bad time to have to wait on it.
let's see, what should we give away? We got Dogsville Woof packs. Should we give away some of those? Halloween.
Yeah.
We'll give away a Dogzilla Woof Halloween pack. I don't know if he closed the blend, but he reopened the blend for us last week. So the blend might still be open. It's closed again? Okay.
But you might be able to get it opened if you just go ask.
If you hit a Buzz King, he might be down.
He's a pretty approachable dude.
Maybe we'll give away one other thing too. We'll give away a Dogzilla Woof pack. What else do we got? We'll give away a Season 12 Marbles Racer trophy.
Oh shit. That's been a while.
I was actually thinking I might try to do marbles again sometime soon. We haven't done marbles in so long that I'm like, I kind of miss marbles. It took 8 months of not doing it to be like, okay, I don't hate this anymore, but it'd be fun to do a marble day again.
Come back around.
So maybe tomorrow or Friday we'll do some marbles. Problem is I don't have it installed on my computer. I don't know how big it is, and my hard drive sucks.
I might still have it. I could run it. Potentially. We'll see.
Buzz King says blend is still open, but it costs more now compared to the Halloween period to make it fair. Okay. So it's still open.
Oh, that's okay. I was still open to the same blend page as before, and it said ended. That's why I had thought it ended. Let me refresh.
Last call! Exclamation point neon. I'm afraid our internet's gonna die. The main problem is I can't end the stream unless we're on StreamYard. I'm not logged in on my phone, so if shit dies, I'm gonna have to reboot the internet again just to end the stream.
They all
What's going
say
on?
ended.
MBW, good vibes.
Buzz King. They all say ended for me on Nifty Blocks on the blends page.
This just in for Max. Blend says it's closed. All right, I'm gonna launch this. We're running on borrowed time.
Yeah, that's true. It's only a matter of time before we lag out again. The grubs are really
so crappy right now, though.
The grubs are really lagging.
Baggy Hodler, Poppin' Stock, Natico Mass, Slice Down. I'm excited to see how the changes to Wax go, though. It's really hard to say theoretically. It's like, oh, Wax could be deflationary, but until we see it in practice, it's hard to say how many people are going to be paying for transactions.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It seems cool. Also, it feels like, the normal user amount of transactions are still very accessible. And then like the, power user and bot transactions, like, okay, you're going to need an asset of Wax now.
Can't tell if the grubfish got louder. I feel like it's exceptionally loud right now, but hopefully y'all can hear what we're saying.
Wupaka's going to need a lot of Wax for his arbitrage bot.
Boom Shankar.
Damn.
Congrats. And I don't think it's open right now, but I'll probably open Marble Trophy blend so you can blend our Marble Trophies into blend tokens and get VRL with those bad boys.
Yeah, nice. That also means that if you can find one on the secondary for less than the cost of a blend token, that might be a good.
I think the Marble Trophies are cool, though.
I do too. I may have to still look. I don't think I have one from every season yet. I was pretty good about scooping them when they were first going out, but then I realized it's a better idea to wait like a while and scoop them later when.
Hard
Well,
ones that
it's
get like the most elimination ones. Those ones are tricky.
Yeah, I don't think I have any most elimination ones. Those are fucking.
Those are all really cool too. Yeah. Thanks for
Let's
watching,
see.
everybody. We're going to be mailing out stickers in maybe like an hour or two. We got I'm going to eat first, and then I'll fill out some forms and send them. But depending on how close you live to us, they might be showing up tomorrow or the next day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll go over, assuming our internet doesn't suck, the Wax DeFi moves, and we'll play some games.
Yeah, take a look at our DeFi wallet. It's looking pretty good. We've been doing pretty well with that this week. This last few months
I
too,
gotta get
actually.
Twitch so we can raid into someone. We'll be raiding into someone. We can raid into the online in's playing card games. I wonder what that means. That sounds fun though. Like in real life card games?
Oh, which game?
Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow at probably like 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. We're a little late today because of the drive back from Palm Springs, but I've been not sleeping all day. Finally got my schedule not totally screwed. Here's buying the dip.
Your boy Kevin just lost lots of money. Oh, but that's okay. I am with you, with you. Oh, man. Your boy Kevin just lost lots of money. Oh, but that's okay. I am with you. Here we go. Come on. Push it. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Here we go. Come on. Push it. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Here we go. Come on. Push it. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Here we go. Come on. Push it. Oh my God. What's happening?
First of all this whining by Wall Street is making me sick. 140% of GameStop was short. GameStop was short. You can't allow Wall Street to short 75% of its stock, crush these companies into the dirt, thousands of stocks into the dirt.
I bought myself GameStop call up today.
Everyone's entrepreneurs. I have a kid who bought a house, paid $50,000 and bought a house. After decades of the shorts, you have to accept the fact that individual investors are playing the same game that you're playing, and now you're losing.
Here we go, come on, push it, buy the dip, buy the dip. Here we go, come on, push it, buy the dip, buy the dip. Here we go, come on, push it, buy the dip, buy the dip. Here we go, come on, push it. Oh my God, what's happening? Here we
Peace
go,
out, everybody.
push it, buy the dip, buy
Have a
the
good
dip.
Wednesday.
Here we go, come on,
Sorry
push
for the
it,
short
push
internet.
it, push it, buy the dip. Here we go, come on, push it, buy the dip, buy the
Buy the
dip.
dip.
Here we go.